Welcome, ATVA viewers, to our monthly Zoom call. My name is Josh Belanger, and I will be our host as we interview different coaches via Zoom each month. To kick off 2021 with our inaugural episode, Texas Christian University head coach Jim Schlossnagle joins us. Coach, thank you very much for taking the time this morning to educate us on some topics.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Going to focus our conversation today around recruiting and team development. We'll start with recruiting and a question that is on a lot of minds now as we move forward in a world pandemic. How have you and your staff adjusted to recruiting during the COVID-19 pandemic? And how do you think high school athletes and recruits should adjust accordingly as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a really tough time and unfortunate time for both sides of the equation. On our end, we're currently in an NCAA dead period that we've been in for a very long time that as of now will not end until April the 15th. So we're not allowed to have recruits on campus and we're not allowed to leave campus. So everything that we've done from a recruiting standpoint has been online. So whether it be, watching a tournament through whatever webcast they have, which is sometimes good. A lot of times it's tough to see the things you need to see, but it's better than nothing. And then certainly, videos, social media, that kind of thing. And it's definitely not ideal, but we live in a very competitive world. College baseball has become extremely competitive, a lot of money involved. And so, we just do what we can. And my advice for parents and players is just to, control what you can control. And that's to, get out there and play. Video is obviously the only medium other than, recommendations from coaches, which are very important as well. But I don't know a coach really at any level that when he gets emailed a video, doesn't at least click on that and take a look, and if you're a position player, you're a shortstop, someone can video you fielding some ground balls and throwing the first base and taking some swings and hitting the ball and running through first base. So we get a decent run time, those kind of things. And then, having your high school coach or your summer league coach contact the schools that you are interested in and talk about you a little bit. And so certainly the players on our team that we have, we're a private school in Texas. So, 60% of our players are from Texas, but they're really from everywhere. And so the organizations that we have continued to year by year get players from, the guys that coach and the guys that run those organizations, they know our program well. I know them well. And I trust their opinion, at least to a certain point, to where we can get involved. And but for the player, you can't control. None of us can control COVID. None of us know when we're going to be able to get out and see games again. So just give yourself the best possible chance by A, being the very best student you can be, B, creating great habits with your nutrition, the weight room, and your skill work, and then just get out there and play and do as much as you can. And it'll eventually work out. I mean, all this stuff will be gone soon. I truly believe that. I mean, it's going to be a part of our life in some way, but I think we'll be able to get out and see guys play, and then the rush will be on for sure.
How have you found some of your best recruits in the past? Are they through your camps? You find them at showcases? Do you recruit a lot from JUCOs? It seems like now you're utilizing a lot of email and video during the stage that we're living in. But what sort of methods have led you to some of your best players?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different ways. I've been doing this for 30 years, so it's changed so much in the last last 5 to 6 years with the speed of recruiting and recruiting, kids that haven't even played varsity baseball yet, let alone are close to college. So with regard to junior college players, in a given year, we want about 25 to 30% of our recruiting class to be junior college players. Normally, you want a junior college player to fill an immediate need. We have a really good club, but we just don't want to go with a freshman catcher. So we'll maybe sign a junior college catcher to play alongside that young player, something like that. But ideally, you build and you maintain your program with high school players. You supplement your program with junior college players. Now it'll be voted on January the 11th it's going to pass starting on August 1st. We'll be back into the open transfer market, which that used to be the case in college baseball. So that's going to be another avenue where kids are transferring, which is, sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. So, but for us, it's just in a normal non-COVID era, it's getting out and watching guys play. Our camps are a big part of that, mainly watching games in the summer. I'm a huge fan of high school baseball. It's just tough for us to see a lot of high school baseball games because normally those games are played the same time we play. So the summer is a peak evaluation period. I do not think you have to play in the fall or play year round to get a college scholarship or be noticed. We encourage players to play other sports. If you play in the fall, that's fine. We'll get a chance to see you play. But very often when we see players in the fall, they're tired. They're out of gas from a long summer. We take that into account, but you're really risking a ton of injury by doing that. So play for your high school team, play in the summer, and then move on to something else the rest of the year would be my advice, and it will work out. I promise. There's no need to play baseball 12 months a year.
Since becoming the head coach at TCU in 2003, you've become the winningest coach in school history, not to mention, the string of NCAA playoff success and all the appearances in the College World Series. What have you learned in that time that has made you a better coach and leader? And any of those like big time light bulb moments?
Well, I mean, there's light bulb moments every day because you like to, I'm a big, people call it a lifelong learner. You want to continue to evolve. You want to continue to get better. Just about every day I come to the field or come to the office or come to the ballpark and figure out a better way to do things. And I think, we've built this program to the point where our staff is just, they're the best at what they do. Our director of operations is the best at what she does. Our pitching coach, Kirk Sarlos, turned down 3 jobs in the big leagues last year. He's still at TCU. Bill Mosiello, our third base coach and coaches our hitters, is the best pure baseball mind I've ever been around at any level in 30 years. Our strength coach, Zach Dakin, is the most published, most popular college baseball strength coach in the country. All you got to do is check him out on social media. So when you have people like that, you create a culture, and that's my job, is to continue our culture, to implement, maintain, drive our culture, and give all of those super talented people every single thing they need to be ultra successful. And our program didn't start out that way. And, if you're a high school coach or you're a summer coach, I understand you're not going to have all those resources, but what you can do is you can create an environment. And here's the bottom line. And this is what people miss. They worry so much about the baseball stuff. And the mission statement for our baseball program is to help each and every person within the program, not just the players, but each and every person within the program to become the very best selfless version of themselves. So if I'm a parent, which I am, or if I was coaching a young team or a high school team or a select team, my job is to help each player become the very best version of themselves. That includes baseball, but it's not exclusive to baseball. So holding kids accountable to be on time, holding them accountable to be a good teammate, holding them accountable to the things they eat, holding them accountable to the things they look at, the things they listen to, how they spend their time, the choices they make, the routines they have. And if you can influence them in a positive way to where they eventually can grow closer, right? And nobody's perfect, but we're trying to get better every day. If that's happening, then the baseball success is going to be just a side effect of that. And we all know that unless you're, even if you are Mike Trout, hopefully he lives a long life. He's still going to spend way more of his life not as a baseball player than he is as a baseball player. And so if parents and coaches will truly, and I've been, I had baseball in the brain way too much early in my career, but if we'll just use this baseball thing as an avenue to better young people, then it's all going to work out the way it's supposed to work out. So my light bulb moment would just be, there wasn't a particular day that came into account, but that certainly evolved quickly over time.
Very insightful there, Coach. You talked about the evolution of your program. In 2013, you guys transitioned from the Mountain West Conference to the Big 12. That first year, you guys struggled a bit, finished 12-12 in the conference, which was tied for sixth. But since that first year, you guys haven't finished lower than third, including 2 first-place finishes. So talk about that transition to the Big 12 and how your program had to evolve to compete in one of the toughest conferences in the country.
Yeah, that year we had a team that was, I think we were preseason in the top 5 or 6 in the country. We were, even in our first year in the Big 12, I think we were picked in the top 2 or 3. But we had a lot of, and this was all 100% my fault. We had some systemic issues within the program. Our coaching staff wasn't aligned the right way, and that was on me. And we also had huge injuries, other things. But we have huge, baseball's a sport where you play so much in college that there's going to be injuries. And if you need every single player to stay 100% healthy the whole season to have a good season, then you're not very good, right? So you have to be able to absorb those things and handle those lightning bolts that happen in a season or those lightning strikes and move on. And we just weren't, the culture of our program that year was just, it was less than what it had been and less than what it should be. And, that was actually, every time it rains, it's eventually the sun's going to come out. So that year taught me a lot. Some of the things I'm talking to you about, if there was a light bulb moment, it was then. We made some changes. We changed some commitments, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And it made us better, to be honest with you. We had to endure that season, but if you look and see what happens after that, it was, 4 straight trips to the College World Series. And even though we haven't been back to Omaha just yet since 17, I feel really good about our club this year. And college baseball is going to be played at an all-time high this season. But just about where we are as a program compared to them is light years difference.
Coach, I think we have time for one final question here. You mentioned your great coaching staff. What do you rely on them to do for you? And what do you and how should assistant coaches contribute to a team and program?
Well, assistant coaches should just simply, first of all, the head coach should do a good job of organizing things and making sure everybody knows what their job is. There needs to be great clarity as to what you're in charge of, both on the field and away from the field. And then once you're given those responsibilities and then take ownership of it and just do a great job with what you're asked to do. And if that's coach the base runners, that's great. If it's rake the field, then be the very best at that, and one of our sayings in our program is how you do anything is how you do everything. And if you're an assistant coach who's bitter because you want to be the head coach, well, you're probably not going to do a really good job at the duties that you've been assigned. And if you think you're just going to be able to press a switch when you get a head coaching job and all of a sudden be better, then you're not. So you do a heck of a job, do more than what you're asked for, by the coach and become promotable, become somebody that the organization can't live without, whether you're paid zero or whether you're, paid a salary to do that. And so, with my staff, those guys are, they're super talented. They know that I'm in charge of the entire program. That doesn't make me better or worse than them. It just that's just my role, and to set the direction of the big ship. And then we all have a voice in every single thing. But when we walk out on the field, it's a united front, and we have great arguments, and that's awesome. And in the right setting, I don't want assistant coaches that think just like me or want to just please the coach. I want them to challenge me. I'm going to challenge them, and just like a family. And so that's the only way we're going to get better is if we keep challenging each other to kind of push the limit to what we can do to help these young people become the very best version of themselves.
Great stuff, Coach. That's going to conclude our episode today. I really enjoyed our conversation. Coach, I want to thank you for your time this morning and all the insight.
All right. Thanks, Josh. I appreciate it.